Good morning, everyone. I hope you are all having a good weekend. I hope you had a good week this past week, and I thank you for joining us. I would also like to remind you, if you haven't already, please click over to our Earth and Sky Facebook page and give us a like. We are also on YouTube now, so if you go to YouTube, find our Earth and Sky Center page, and if you click that subscribe button, that'll help us out a lot too with some of the growth that we're wanting to do. And today's topic is all about honesty. Are you honest with others? Do you tell little white lies? Do you have big secrets that you're keeping? Are you possibly a compulsive liar where you just kind of naturally lie daily and then those lies compound? Are you honest with yourself? There are so many different aspects to honesty, and they're all really important. So JJ is actually joining me today as we talk about honesty. And when you learn to be honest with yourself, part of being honest with yourself is getting to know yourself and getting to know who you are. And when you know who you are and you're honest with yourself, then you'll be able to be more honest with others. Sometimes we get caught up when we're younger, even with starting to lie and feeling like certain lies are okay and other lies are not okay, or maybe you just lie all the time. You know, there's a wide range of people and a wide range of justifications that people use as well. And so we just want to dig into that a little bit and how you can maybe get to know yourself a little bit better by being honest. So let's start with the little white lies.
White lies, yeah. So with little white lies, so that, like most people, that's where it always reverts to. You talk about honesty, the first thing they bring up, of course, is, well, what about little white lies? Aren't those okay? You know, and if that's okay, then why do I need to be honest? I guess is kind of the correlation behind that. But to me, if the little white lies, which people have been saying for so long, if the little white lies is what's brought us to where we're at today, where we don't have an honest conversation about hardly anything ever. The only thing you say to somebody is if it's a good thing. The only thing you say to somebody is something that's not going to get you in trouble. It's not going to, it doesn't actually approach anything that's serious, doesn't approach anything that might matter to somebody. And if that's where the little white lies go, I got to say personally, I'm like, then get rid of them. If little white lies lead to where we're at now, then I say get rid of them. I think we should go back to the other side. Now, if it was all honesty, and on occasion there's that one little, I'll just let that one slide. Sure, I don't have an issue with that personally. But the idea of the little white lies, when most people say that, from what I've seen, little white lies aren't little white lies. They mean every moment of every day.
And they do it so frequently sometimes too.
It's
somebody,
constantly.
It starts with lying to your employer about why you're late for work that day, or lying to your spouse about something, or
so with that, so that's a perfect one. And the fact of the general consensus, the thought is there's a heavy set woman who comes out in the dress, right? Does this dress make me look fat? And if she's a heavy set woman, then no, the dress doesn't make her look fat. She's a heavy set woman, so you go, no, the dress does not make you look fat. It's an absolute truth. And there's ways to say the truth to things. And then with that, if she has outfits that make her look nicer, if they complement her better, you say, you have those other dresses, you have that other outfit that actually you look quite a bit nicer than this one.
And that's actually something I really appreciate with you, because when I do ask you how I look in the morning, I think all of us women do that, and it really doesn't matter what your size is. Beauty is within you.
Absolutely.
There is, beauty isn't dictated by size, as magazines try to tell us.
Absolutely.
But I do appreciate that I can ask you, and I know honestly that you're going to tell me if something isn't that flattering on me. Actually, it's ironic that we're talking about this. This skirt is one of those that he said, well, it's not as flattering as some of the other skirts that you wear, but I love it, and it makes me feel comfortable, and I'm happy wearing it. And so he's happy with me wearing it.
Absolutely.
If I'm comfortable and it makes me confident and I enjoy it, then fine. But I appreciate that honesty.
And it doesn't look bad on you, but you have ones that give you a nice shape.
Really
This one's, it's kind of a boxy look. It gives you a much more straight up and down. You can't tell where your curves are, that kind of a thing. And so it takes your widest point and it makes it here.
And so,
What?
So-
It does. It creates a box.
right. And so, but it's nice to be
But
able
it's
to have
whim-
an honest
but it's-
discussion about things.
But it's whimsical what she loves.
I wonder
and
where
it's-
he's sleeping.
it does. And it doesn't look bad on you though. That's the thing.
And so, but I do appreciate that honesty. I appreciate that then I know if I ask you and you say, boy, that looks great, or that looks really good, or I like that,
Yeah.
then it's true. You're not just
Absolutely.
making me feel better and then I'm going out looking however I may or may not
Look,
actually look, thinking
And
one
that's-
thing to myself, and instead I get your opinion and I filter it with my own opinion. I
Exactly.
don't always agree with your judgment, and that's fine, but when you
But
tell
you
me
shouldn't.
something looks great or whatever, then I'm like, yeah, wonderful.
Well, and that's part of where the whole thing, we rely so much on other people
Others' opinions.
and feedback. And so if we're afraid of something, we ask for their opinion in fear that they might tell us the
That's
thing
a
we're not
bad
going to
setup.
hear. And so that's where I think that's another part of where we've come to where we're at, is that if you talk to somebody in fear of that they're going to tell you something bad, if you don't want to know the truth, don't ask.
Right.
Just go with I hope that's the way it is, because that's what you should be doing. And when you go to somebody and if they gave you the truth and you go, oh man, but now you know. Now it's not an if or a maybe, and that to me, I think facts. I think how things are is a much more ambitious. It's a much more lively. It's a much more true way to live. Is understanding where you're at, and not what everybody's been feeding you because they're afraid to tell you how things are.
And there's a lot of trust that gets built if you can be honest with other people and you trust that the others that you care about are honest with you, then that really builds a lot of trust and a lot of confidence. And what kind of value can you put on that trust and confidence? And you just wash it away slowly and you water it down if you're filtering lies in. Even little white lies, it washes away that trust and it waters it down
Yep.
rather than, just coming together. And sometimes there are slight consequences if you tell the truth instead of, lying or covering
absolutely.
something up, even the little white lies. So sometimes you might tell me, ooh, it's not as flattering, so then he has to see me go through 2 or 3 other outfits,
Then
So
instead
that's a
of
slight
then instead of
consequence.
leaving now, we leave in an hour, and we're already late. So it's but
It's not that long. So,
depends on how many outfits.
but there are always consequences. So if you're talking to somebody and they're asking you a question about something that really matters to them, and you want to be honest with them, and instead of saying, oh, I'm sure that's okay, or somebody that's concerned about their partner in a relationship, maybe they're opening up to you about personal issues, and so instead of just masking it, saying, oh, I'm sure it's fine, don't worry about it, everything's okay, maybe you need to have a little bit of a dialogue and really find out where they're coming from and let them know honestly what your perception is of it. Don't tell them what to do with it, because that's the difference. It's letting them know your opinion, giving them your thoughts on it, and letting them decide for themselves what they want with their life. Now, there is a possibility that they will get upset with you too. Some people don't really want to hear the truth, but I think more often than not, people are lying more often, and people are wanting to hear that truth, and we're not getting to the truth of
Well, that's
things.
the other thing, is if through your entire life, if everybody you talk to, they always buffer everything, then suddenly somebody comes to you and they just lay out the truth to you, it seems raw, it seems rough, it seems aggressive, it seems a lot of things. But if more people do it, if people were used to getting that, if people were used to having the truth handed to them in a way that was not so, let's make sure you're okay first, and then we'll talk about whatever's going on. And then it's like, if you just go, no, this is kind of how it is, actually. And the more you get it, the more you see your life. And the more, yes, at first it's like, what? And more people, and I think more people, if you are honest with them as a general, people will be taken back. They will be at times hurt. They will be whatever. But it's only in the moment.
It pales in comparison to that trust that you're building, that foundation of trust and faith that you're actually elevating the relationship with. And one of the key things to this that I think is very, very important to get across when you're being honest with people is to have non-judgment with it. Because
Absolutely.
I really admire, and I think a lot of our friends admire JJ's ability specifically of being very direct and very upfront, but it never comes across as really harsh or condescending or judgmental, because it's always approached in a way of non-judgment. It's just, this is how the facts are. This is how I see it. And I'm not telling you what to do with this information. I'm not telling you what choices you need to make. I'm just showing you, open your eyes. We often put blinders on ourselves because I think we lie to ourselves a lot too. And so we'll try to mask certain things because it makes it easier to get through a situation. It makes it easier to get through a relationship or a problem if we say, I'm just going to turn an eye to that. Act like that's not the case.
The fear
Right.
of what might
The
be.
fear creeps up. But if you can break through that instead and say, you know what, it is what it is. Let me look at this for what it is. And then you can make the choices that you want to make based on actual clear facts and having that non-judgment and just, moving
Well,
forward.
and anybody that's been through a bad, like where their spouse has been cheating on them for an extended period of time or whatever, and they had signs, and that anybody who's been through anything like that knows that it's not, if you had known in the beginning, you could have saved yourself so much more heartache. But it's the fear of what might be that when you turn your head from it, the only thing you're guaranteeing is if it is true, you're guaranteeing you're allowing it to get so much worse.
Right, and take so much longer. And how much of your life then are you?
And then and I mean, in each moment that's something that you're running from. Whenever you run from, at least from what I've learned in life, is that every time you're running from something, you're running from an idea, you're running from a possibility, you're running from something that's going on. The minute you're running from something, it not only follows you, but it gets bigger all the time, and eventually it will catch you. And when it does catch you, it's always worse than when it was if you had just stopped at the moment, faced it, and gone, so what is this going to be?
Right, just like in an abusive relationship too. You have the cheating spouse as an example, but abusive relationships, they usually start out really good and they're very charming and everything feels really good, and then it's slow gradual steps, and those slow gradual steps towards a negative and towards whether it's just being very controlling and manipulative, or maybe it's where physical abuse is starting, and there's the apologies that come after.
There usually is the start of an emotional abuse is usually where it starts.
Right, and there's this roller coaster of the good and the bad and the good and the bad, and then sometimes it's easier to focus on the good side of it, and oh, this person was really sorry, or oh, this person wouldn't do it again, or oh, I don't think this person is lying, or oh, I'm not sure if I can trust this person. But you are building this database in your head of what you're thinking. And so if you can just allow yourself to have faith in yourself, for one, because you have to have that confidence in yourself, that faith in yourself that you are going to be okay, that you are still you regardless of who else has come into your life, and that you opening your eyes and seeing the choices around you, then you can make an informed decision on what you want to do. And maybe you choose to stay, maybe you choose to go, maybe you choose to sit down and have an open dialogue where you really try to have that honesty come into the conversation.
Well, even with yourself, that's where the concept of those people, that there's two types basically. When in any kind of a relationship, especially when things start to go south badly, there's the person that there's the first contact where the guy or the girl or whoever, they get hit, and there's that split moment. You're either the person that's going to justify it away, which means you've never really sat down and been honest with yourself about what am I willing to take in a relationship, because most people will say,
I would never allow that.
There's no way I would never allow that, it's not going to happen to me. And so they say that, but they haven't truly been honest. They haven't said, is that really where I stand? And that's where the honesty in yourself comes in, because it's either that the person goes, oh, it's done, because they've said in their mind, this is it, this is a line, this is the line. And when you reach that line, that's where that whole honesty and core come in. And but when that happens, and then the minute you justify that away, the minute you let that slide, the minute that goes by, well, maybe I can, well, now you're not being honest with yourself again. and you're allowing them, you're believing their lies, and you're allowing that to come in, and you know it's not true.
Right, and maybe you're on the other side of that. Maybe you are the one that's being controlling or manipulating or lying. I mean, there are a lot of people that are compulsive liars
Yep.
that don't even realize they're doing it because they started out maybe even young with little white lies, and then it starts to become more gradual, and you start to realize you can portray yourself as one way to people, and you like the way people see you. And I think often it comes from low self-esteem.
And it's a way to get attention. It's just like people that act, people that they seem to be sick a lot, only they're actually definitely honestly not sick. I mean, I'm one of the ones that I personally take everybody at their word when they say they're sick. But I mean, there are people they say they're sick and they're not, but it's for attention. And they're ones that lie about these over the top things to get attention, to be more, to feel like or they seem like more than they are.
Right.
And yet people just kind of let them do it, and they don't, they just, it's okay, but it's not okay.
And how do you break that cycle then if you're in that? How do you just stop and break that cycle if you're realizing today's the day I want to start to be honest. I want to find who I am. That might be one of the first steps is figuring out who you are, because a lot of times people who do lie compulsively, they just don't even really feel comfortable within themselves to have that confidence of knowing who they are, knowing what they like, knowing what they're even about. So part of that might be learning to go within. Meditation is a great way to start to go within, to get to know yourself, because when you go inward with meditation and you really take time and you get quiet and you go within, you really start to learn a whole lot about yourself. That's where the book within you starts to open up and unfold.
And your idea with lists. If you make a list, this is what I want to be. Because I mean, we get to be whoever we want to be. Now, if we get to be that by actually being that, or if we get to be that by lying to everybody so that they think we're that.
Right.
I mean, the only real difference is one is honest and one is lying, and yet same person can be either one. Now, one person can be honest and everything they ever wanted to be, or they can lie about who they want everybody to see them as and not actually be it, and yet try to be that.
But then that feels like it's such work, and it's such, I think a lot of people who do lie a lot, they have to work hard to keep those lies straight, and then those compound day after day, and that's so much work and so much turmoil. And I feel like a lot of people that are in that position often are struggling within to keep everything straight, for one, and then when those things do come crashing down, and they at different points, different ones will absolutely come crashing down, then there's an embarrassment factor that can go with that.
And they almost never have long-term friends.
Right.
They would never have long-term friends, and they would never have people that they get to carry with them through their lives that mean something to them, and they always feel like that there's always a hollow that follows them.
And so I think a lot of it is determining that this is the time to break through that, and it'll be hard at first, but so the first step is really that learning who you are, learning about yourself within.
Figuring out who you want to be for real.
Exactly. And then you have to break the cycle. Just like anything where you have to break the cycle, it can be very challenging at first. You're going to have to start fessing up with certain things that you've lied and just being honest. And once you have to do that a few times, then you're really that's gonna cut that desire to lie, because that's a hard thing. That's a hard thing to come forward to somebody that you care about and let them know, I've been lying about this, I'm sorry, I need to, acknowledge it and apologize. And then ask that person, if it's somebody that you can really trust, this is a really good way to elevate your relationship and build a lot more trust, is to ask them to keep you accountable. And so to let them know you're going to tell them if you slip up and if you start to lie about something, you'll be accountable and you'll let them know. And if they question you on something and you really are lying, then come forward about it.
Yes.
And that's going to build that trust to such a much more solid level than what you have. And that's going to be able to erase all these worries and all of that stress of keeping things in your head.
And if you lie all the time, just like anything else, if that's your habit, to kick that habit, it's going to be a trick. I mean, you're going to have to work at it. It's going to be something you want to do, and you have to focus on, and you will stumble. It's like, smoking or anything else, any other type of major habit that there are.
Right.
You will stumble, and you will do it again, but then you come back and you just keep working at it.
Right, and you can apply this to the little white lies
Yeah.
as well as the other extreme with the compulsive liar.
Yeah.
Both of those can merge and you break that habit by telling the truth, and then it's going to feel it will not feel good right in the moment, but it's going to feel so much better afterwards as you build that trust, and as you, even just in the fact of doing that and coming clean and being honest with people and letting them know when you've lied about something, that's going to help you learn to discover yourself more. And you're going to, even though in the moment it doesn't feel as good, you're going to afterwards feel so much more confidence, and you're going to have that strength that starts to come up within you, because a lot of times people do lie out of that low confidence. And so you're going to build your confidence in a true, honest, sustainable way, and your head is going to feel so much more free, not having to keep all of those things straight.
Well, and the different, most of that, people feel the difference literally like in their heart, I think. That's
immediately.
It's a real difference. I mean, they feel, I mean, you don't, I've seen people that have done it, and I've been through those situations and stuff, and I know that it gives you a hollow feeling, there's no question. I mean, and so they will always be a better sense of themselves by telling the truth. I mean, it just is.
Right, yeah, and being honest with yourself. I think that's something that everybody really needs to learn and to focus on, and see, you know, what parts of yourself are you feeling like you're really truly honest about, and what parts are you maybe faking it a little bit, and where can you be more honest
and that's
to pull yourself up?
I think some people, they think being honest means that then you'll have to face things that you don't like. You'll have to accept that there are things about yourself that you won't necessarily like. And part of, in my mind, to me, that's every character trait, every aspect of what you do, everything has, in this right situation, it's a strength, and in another situation, it's a weakness. How you choose to see it is completely up to you. I know that, I have quite a few traits that most of the time are weaknesses, but there are the occasions that, hey, this is where that one that usually bothers me is actually a strength. Yay, you know. But I mean, just because you have a character trait, just because you don't like it, doesn't mean it's bad. And just because you do like it, doesn't mean it's a good thing.
And wouldn't you rather know what your strengths and your weaknesses are, and to understand that, because it's part of who you are, regardless of whether you're acknowledging it or not. You are who you are,
exactly.
And when you recognize and you learn who you are, then you can decide, I'm going to build up on this a little bit, I'm going to let go of this a little bit, you know, and you can create that life, because we can all create the life that we want to be. We can all manifest our destiny. We all are creators of our own fate, and we're all creators of our own actions and our thoughts. And so it's about deciding to be real with yourself, to learn who you are, and making that decision that it's going to feel a whole lot better to be honest than it is to tell little white lies, or compulsively lie, or lie to yourself, or hide things from yourself. Right. And so learning that and just being direct, being upfront, being honest, it's going to help you be who you want to be in life.
And again, like with back to the little white lie concept, there are ways to say the truth without hurting people.
Yes,
I mean,
and that's important. You don't want to go around telling somebody,
you look like an idiot.
That's not right.
If you think that,
that's
you
judgment.
Don't say that.
And then there's judgment.
That's exactly right.
And that's that difference.
Exactly. You can say, hey, you changed your outfit. Hey, you might want to try this. Hey, whatever. I mean, there are ways to be honest and not a jerk.
Right, and sometimes asking questions instead of making a statement is a good way to do that.
Absolutely.
You know, absolutely. I'm trying to think of examples with that, but yeah, you know, even like so with an outfit again. So, you know, those colors, I don't think I've seen you wear those colors together quite like that. You know, just to get them thinking about it, and then that opens the dialogue so that you can.
Well, and there are times, go back to the outfit, sometimes you come in with an outfit and you go, what do you think? And I go, and it's like, I don't know. I don't think it goes together great, but I don't know why. You know what I mean? And sometimes it just, and then as we talk about it, sometimes we'll figure it out, and sometimes we don't, you know, textures, whatever. But there are times you just go, I mean, you don't have to love everything, but you don't need to be a jerk if you don't like them.
Right. And this goes with, you know, people asking you about, you know, things about themselves, things about career, love, money, you know, all of the things that are in life, to be able to be honest, and the key is that non-judgment and not telling them what to do.
And then from the other side of that, when you are honest with people, when you take that chance, when you go to people and you dare to try and point something out that they probably would want to know, but nobody else will tell them, that from the other side, that shows, in my opinion at least, that's the way I've always seen it, is that shows caring. That shows this one person decided out of the group or out of whatever to come up and go, hey, by the way, and just to let you know. And isn't that always a better thing? I mean, doesn't that make you above what you know, if you normally wouldn't? I mean, that is to
Right, like
other
the
side.
friend that'll tell you if you have something on your teeth. You
Right,
know, after
exactly.
You know,
Yes,
a lot of
exactly,
people won't
yes.
because it's something we get nervous about doing, but the person always appreciates it
Yeah,
because they don't
of
want
course
to
you
walk
wanna know.
around
Of
like
course
that,
you
you
wanna
know,
know.
and
Yeah.
that applies to all the other aspects of friendship and communication. And
Oh,
so
do I have something? Sorry.
and so just really learning to apply that and taking that risk is really, I really feel it'll be very rewarding to you to do that.
And always, like I said, if it's lie about it or don't say anything, then don't say anything.
That's true too. Yes, yeah. And then another big point, just to kind of touch on a little bit more too, is not telling people what to do with the information. I mentioned
Yes.
that a little bit
Yeah.
earlier, but I think the part where people get into trouble with it is sometimes we care about friends or relationships and things, and so we'll tell them, you know, this is, I don't think this is quite right, or I see this in this situation, or have you noticed this? And then they'll answer, and then the person will try to proceed and say, well, I think you should do this, or you should change this, or you should decide on this, or you should get rid of that relationship, or you
Right.
should, and
You
that's not your place.
You shouldn't take
That's not
that,
it.
or you should make sure they're not allowed to do this, or you should never
Right.
allow that to happen.
Being honest with what you see,
Yeah.
and not saying, this is what you need to
Trying to
do.
control them.
And exactly,
Yeah.
and being honest with what you see, but not saying that's bad, or, you know,
Yeah.
placing judgment. It's
Yeah,
just
because
an
the things
honest
aren't bad or good.
discussion.
I mean,
Right. Everything is
especially
perception, but when you have truth,
Yeah.
that is the foundation for,
giving you a better life.
right,
Yeah, well, and in that, if you tell them what to do, you can't know what they're thinking. You can't know in that situation. Each person, there are so many variables, and we all consider different things in our lives with different weights. Different things are important, different things aren't important, you know?
and there are a lot of variables in people's lives. If you're being honest with somebody, there are a lot of variables. You might not know all of the
Exactly.
variables.
Yeah, and you definitely don't know where the weights fall, you know?
Right, what they prioritize.
What they prioritize over other things, where, you know, and so in that, there's no way you can know exactly what they should do, because it's not you.
Right, exactly. Any other
I
thoughts?
think that's about it.
All right, I hope this inspires each of you to
Honestly.
be more honest in your days. Be honest with yourself, be honest with your friends, be honest with your family, be honest with your coworkers. You know, every person that comes into your life, have the respect for that person,
Yes.
to be honest with them, and have the respect for yourself to be honest with them and with yourself. And you'll see brilliant changes coming. You
Huge,
know, it really lightens up your aura. That aura is that electromagnetic field that extends around your body. It lightens up your aura when you tell the truth. It really shows in people's aura when they lie. Not everybody sees the aura, but it really shows in the aura when people lie. And so it's about being honest, telling them the truth, and having non-judgment, and not telling them what to do in the process. If you are somebody that feels like you're struggling with this a little bit and you want to work on being more honest, or you're somebody that feels like you've got people that are lying around you and you want to have more honesty in your environment, amethyst is a really good crystal to use for that. I have a few different types of amethyst here today. This beautiful amethyst druzy my friends here gave me, it's a unique type of amethyst. I really like that style. This is a more commonly, you know, a lot of people think of this with the amethyst where it has the different crystalline points on it. And then this is one of my newer favorites of the amethyst. This is an amethyst crystal point. So you have the normal quartz crystal here, which goes up into the amethyst. Any type of amethyst, any of those dark purple stones are really going to help you, because it's really that truth stone. It's that honesty stone. And so if you're feeling like it's going to be hard for you to get out of, either compulsively lying or telling little white lies, or maybe you feel like you're caught in a trap, or you just want to improve yourself, find a small amethyst and keep it in your pocket. And then that'll not only help remind you about telling the truth, but it'll also help to just keep that clear in your aura too.
Keep the truth energy in you.
Yes,
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, amethyst is just so wonderful for that. I have it in our living room in a few different spots. I love the color of the stone too. It's a favorite of a lot of people with that purple color. Quartz is one of the other crystals I use a lot. Quartz is an activator, and it will enhance and energize any other stones around it. So if you feel like you really need a big boost with the amethyst, throw a normal quartz next to it, or find, these are a little bit more rare, harder to find, but if you have the quartz mixed with the amethyst already, then that's really energizing that amethyst. So it'll really give it that extra boost and that extra push. So I hope that inspires all of you to bring that honesty into your life, and I look forward to hearing from you to see how that helps unfold within you, building your confidence, building that respect, and then bringing the relationships that you're in up to a much higher level of trust and excitement and that faith and that confidence. So I believe in you. I hope you believe in yourself too. Don't forget to go over and like our Earth and Sky Facebook page, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel too, please. Earth and Sky Center on YouTube.
Yep.
So thank you so much. Have a great day.